Hey up everybody, my name's Joshua Morrison, director of Johnny Moz's Lessons in Confidence. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about coming up with ideas. How do I come up with ideas for these videos? How do you come up with ideas in general for things? And you know, there's those times where you don't really have much of a clue what you want to make, but you know you want to make something. And it's about getting from that point where you haven't made something and you don't know what it is you want to make to you have made something and here it is, right? So that's the thing I like about doing these videos is that they're very quick, they're very sort of stream of conscious, they're very, whatever I'm thinking on the day is kind of what the video will be. So if I'm in a good mood, then that will be what the video is. If I'm in a bad mood, then that will kind of be what the video is. And now there's like 200 plus videos just like this, where I go to various little places and I talk about, you know, various things. Sometimes I'm in more of a motivational mood. Sometimes I'm in a mood where I just want to have a bit of a moan. Sometimes I want to get into some nitty-gritty of some issue, you know. And sometimes I don't have any ideas. Sometimes, and there's been a couple times, not really anymore, but towards the start of this channel, where I would say that little, hey up everybody, my name's Joshua Morrison, director of Johnny Moz's Lessons in Confidence, and today, and I wouldn't even know what I'm going to say next, and I would just make it up on the spot, and I would figure out what my point is as I'm doing the video. And as I start talking, I realize it's kind of going to lead into this kind of topic or this kind of topic. And I think by doing stuff, you will get your ideas more figured out than if you just sit and try and figure out your ideas. If you go out and just execute an idea, you'll realize what that idea is through the process of doing it. And then once you have done it, you'll be able to look back and go, I did this right, but I did that wrong. And there's a lot of stuff that's quite good in here, but there's this little issue that's just kind of here. And there's a lot of good things that can come out of the spur of the moment, as it were. There's a lot of good things that can just come out of just beginning without an idea and then just seeing what comes of it. And then taking a look at the finished product and going, ah, that's what I was going for. And it turns out to be a lot more cohesive than you might think going into it, especially as you do more and more of them. Like, you know, I think once you do your first few, you figure out the good things and the bad things about your style and about who you are in general, and what it is you have to offer in terms of an outlook or a creative you know, vision. And you take the lessons that you learned from doing and apply them to the next thing that you do. And hopefully the next time you won't make the same mistakes that you made the first time, but you'll retain the things that were good about the first time. And then now that you've done the second time, you'll see what was kind of oh, that thing there is still a little bit wrong, but it's not as bad. And now you do the third thing and you're just honing in on what's good and taking out what's bad. And the more that you do, the more you're able to do good things and the more you're able to filter out the bad. Compared to if you just try and make the perfect thing straight away, you won't get anything done. I've got so many notes in my Google Drive, in my notes, in my computer, and just written down on paper. I've got huge wafts of fucking text all over the place that are all half-baked ideas, trying to figure out what to do. And the more that I sat and plan something, the less I actually do something. And I feel like when I come and do these sort of videos, I don't have much of an idea. I don't sit and take loads and loads and loads of notes. I don't have, you know, an exact structure in mind. I know kind of how these videos function in the sense that I'm trying to solve a little issue or answer a question, and I go about it by asking a few questions, raising some concerns, and then trying to address them. And once you figure out a little formula for yourself that you can kind of just do off the cusp, then you're going to be in a much better position to be able to create things that take some kind of more preordained planning. I'm not against planning. I'm not against, you know, figuring out what you want to do beforehand. But I think it shouldn't be the only way that you do stuff. I think it's nice to go into something without much of an idea, just a basic little concept, and then seeing what can come from it, right? A film that I watched recently, it's called Love Celeste, right? It's part of Joel Haver's 12 Features project. I think it's like the 7th or the 8th one, right? If you type it into Google, there's this one Reddit thread that's posted by one of the guys that's in it. I think it's Dan, and he basically just screen capped the original draft concept. And the original draft concept on his phone is like a 4-line long note on his phone. It's literally, you can read it in about 30 seconds, right? And the idea is so simple, and they extrapolated that simple idea into this 1.5-hour long feature film project. And look, I'm not gonna act like it's the best film ever. I'm not gonna say that it's perfect, but I do think that they made a really good film without much in the way of, you know, organizing or planning or anything like that, and they came out of a decent project, right? And the more that you do that, he did it 12 times, and he came out with, I wouldn't say they're all great. I've seen 4, and I liked 3 of them, and I loved one of them, right? So say that's a 1/4 success rate. That's still pretty fucking decent, you know? And at the end of the day, the more that you do something, the better you will get at it, compared to the more that you plan something. You're only gonna get better at planning, you're not gonna get better at doing. You can plan all you want, but that doesn't necessarily translate to any kind of actual project or product or final result, right? Unless you just set out to make a plan without actually actioning it. Right? That's why I go into these videos without much of an idea. For instance, this video, the only note that I've got on my phone is just, how do I come up with ideas for videos, right? And the way that I would answer that question is I kind of think about stuff that I've done before. I look at various topics. I've done stuff on like music motivation, like film sort of centric motivation. I've done stuff about philosophy. And I think about what aspects of philosophy I might have been going for. Like I did one a while ago about trying to shut out politics for the sake of your own mental health, right? And I think, okay, what kind of points was I making in that? And then I think, how can I extrapolate a couple of those points where I didn't really go super in depth to it? And then maybe there's another video in that idea. So I went and actually did a semi-sequel video to that video just the other day. And that tackles an entirely different sort of realm within this overall idea of shutting out politics or just trying to, you know, be more conscious of the world that you live in, right? And so that's one sort of avenue of film, of video that I can go down, or I can go down a totally separate one. I can go down the music motivation one. I can think, okay, I've done ones on singing, I've done ones on playing the instrument, I've done ones on mixing, I've done ones on blah, 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 right? And I can think, okay, what haven't I done? Well, I've done singing, but maybe I haven't done, you know, various types of singing, finding the right type of singing for you. I only talked about the general concept of singing. I could hone in on a specific idea within that. I could, you know, go more technical with it, or I could go a bit more abstract with it and a bit more philosophical with it. And so each idea that for a video that you kind of do, that springs out so many more ideas, because if you look at, say, an old project that you worked on, right, and you watch it back or you listen to it back or read it back or whatever, you'll see that there's so many little things in there that you kind of think, oh, I wish I'd done that as well. I wish I'd put that in, or I wish I'd tried that, you know? And doing these videos, it allows me to do all of those little things, but just in piecemeal form, rather than trying to do one giant project where I say everything that there is to say. I can just say little bits here and there and build up things over time, over the course of hundreds, possibly thousands of videos going into the future. I don't know how many of these I'm gonna make, right? So I think it's important to figure out who you are, what you're making, and why you're making it, rather than just honing in on the how you're gonna make it, the planning, the figuring it out, right? I could get really, like, you know, mega into like the specific locations and specific angles and stuff, and making sure each video is like, well, the best thing that I've ever done. But I don't want to do things like that. Sometimes I go into a video and I know it's not going to be the best one. I know it's maybe going to be even, quote, filler content, right? There's some videos that I think are filler stuff at the time of making it, and then I go back and look at it and I feel like it's one of my better ones. So you kind of get that with all forms of creativity. And that's why I'm so big into the idea of quantity over quality, doing more things rather than trying to do the best thing, because you'll end up doing better things just by making more stuff. The more that you make, the better you'll get at making things. And it's just really as simple as that. And so with coming up for some of the ideas for these videos, I kind of take what I've done before and try and extrapolate on various ideas and bits that I haven't touched on yet, and try and expand my own little worldview and my own ideology and figure myself out in amongst all of this stuff. Recently I went to see a few mates, right? And towards the end of the night, this mate gave me this book. It's Jack Kerouac, On the Road. And he said, Josh, you'll really like this book. You're really going to enjoy this. right? So, and he was sort of talking about the benefits of reading and how reading philosophy can really help you out and stuff like that. And I'm going to be honest, I don't read like a particularly massive amount of philosophy. I don't read particularly like much at all, to be honest. I used to read a lot on the bus. I used to read constantly. And then, I don't know, when the pandemic happened, I kind of stopped for some reason. And I just never picked it up again. Now when I go on the bus, I listen to an album or listen to a podcast or something, and it's just not quite as intellectually stimulating compared to doing the reading and stuff. Apparently some people find it hard to read on a bus because they get a bit motion sick. I can totally understand that, but that was never an issue with me, so I don't know why I don't read more on the bus. I haven't even started reading this Jack Kerouac book. I've had it for 2 days now, and I need to actually start reading it. It's not even that long, it's only like 300 pages, and it's similar in vein to like the Charles Bukowski and Hunter S. Thompson. That's kind of the realm of literature that I really enjoy. Semi-realist, quite cynical, quite down-to-earth, naturalistic kind of stories about just people doing the things that they do and the travels that they undertake and all that kind of stuff. And that's just my little like world of book. I like that little area of literature, but other people like other areas of literature. So I want to start reading more in that vein, and then seeing like, oh, there's this book that goes into this idea, but on a bit of a different level. And there's, you know, oh, it's the same kind of traveling thing, but now where they're doing it in Eastern Europe rather than America, whatever, you know, that kind of thing. And I like that kind of semi-real, semi-fiction, you know, but it's all about getting a point across and about, you know, expressing a worldview. And you know, when I read Charles Bukowski or whoever did Stupid Dog, I kind of think, wow, I can understand who these characters are. And I think that's, you know, something that is really good to do, just to start reading. And I'm going to get back into reading. And I think that'll probably benefit these videos as well, because I'll be able to be more, you know, informed about my philosophical outlook. Right? Because I don't know, I have been running a little low on ideas, but that's only because I've done so many of these videos in such a short span of time. If I give it a couple like weeks or something like that where I don't make any and I've had it all backlogged and I haven't made any videos for a couple of weeks, I kind of come back and I find that I have a lot to say, because I've taken some time to recharge the old you know, thinking batteries. I don't know, and it kind of just works out that the more that you say, the more that you figure out yourself, and the more that you figure out yourself, the more that you have to say. And that kind of, what's the word? You know, when you do paradox, that's it. When you go time traveling and there's a bit of a paradox, it's kind of like that, but without the time traveling. So yeah, in terms of, I come up with ideas pretty much on the spot, and sometimes like the night before I go on my phone and I type some video title ideas. Sometimes I do the little thumbnail text and I think like, right, here's how it can kind of work. Mr. Beast does this. He figures out the title first and then works the video around it. I kind of do the same thing. As much as I hate to admit that, I do that exact thing. I figure out the title and then figure out what I can say in regards to that title. And there's been so many titles that I've discarded because I've tried to make the video, and a few minutes in, I know that it's not going to work. I know that this idea is bollocks, and I know that I have nothing to really say on the matter. And when that happens, that's just fine. It's just an idea that didn't work. But it's worth trying. It's always worth trying an idea that doesn't work, even if you don't succeed. At least you have done something. What's the whole thing like? It's better to try and not succeed than it is to not succeed and fail, or something like that. Not try and to fail. I don't know how the quote works, but it's something like that. And it's all about just, you know, it's good to try hard at things, and I think we can all agree with that. It's good to try hard at stuff. I don't think that's an uncontroversial. I don't think that's a controversial thing to say. Yeah, that's basically it. That's how I come up with the ideas for these videos. It's kind of a spur of the moment, and I consciously don't put too much in the way of you know, preordained, pre-planned sort of stuff in there, because if I do that, then I'm kind of imprisoned by the plan, and that means that I have a harder time actually coming up with things to say, because at the end of the day, this is still unscripted, and if I was to script this out, I don't think it would be anywhere near as good. I wouldn't be able to come up with nearly the same level of you know, conclusions that I would come to if I was just sat at a computer, you know, just trying to type it all out beforehand. And it's not that I'm against the idea of scripting stuff out and trying things that way. I just haven't at the moment. I'd like to do that at some point in a different format, maybe like with voiceover and stock footage and stuff. That'll probably be for a separate, I might do a separate channel for that one day. Not anytime soon. That's just an idea that I've just spitballed. But it's an idea that just came out. It might work, it might not, right? I might go for it, I might not, right? The more ideas that you have and the more ideas that you action on, the better you will be at coming up with ideas, is essentially the point of this video. So yeah, if you have any thoughts on, you know, just coming up with your ideas in general, how do you come up with ideas for the things that you do? Do you ever feel like you've run out of ideas? Do you ever feel like, you know, you're creatively spent and there's nothing left in your little creative well? You're wrong, but do you ever feel like that? Because I know I sure do. And yeah, that's basically the video. I hope you have a good rest of the day. Hope you know, staying comfortable in this cold winter. And yeah, hope you have a good rest of the day. And take care, everybody. Bye bye. I'm gonna close it out by just doing some swinging. Oh, my tail, my hips. Ah, fuck. They're squeezing. I don't like this. I'm too fat and old to be swinging on this fucking thing. Fucking hell. Jesus. Stop that.